Howdy y'all, this is Dwight and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I thought I'd do a little spring walk around and let you see how my projects are doing. So, we'll first come over here to where I got a bunch of stuff right outside my greenhouse. And over here by the old hound dog, I got a couple small oaks here that I got this spring, and so far they seem to be looking pretty good. Of course, now we got us some maters and got some roses for my mom. But here in the back, I got my Chinese wisteria, and this is the second year that I've had this one here in this pot, and it has come out quite lovely and nice and healthy looking. So I'm just letting it run right now to hopefully get its root system built up and hopefully get a branch network started before too much longer. We'll put it that way. Now over here, if you remember a few videos back, I got a couple stumps, and this is the one that I really didn't think was going to do anything, because when I dug it up, all it had was a large taproot that I cut off because it was going really deep, and it didn't have much in the way of roots, any fibrous roots. And lo and behold, if it didn't leaf out this spring. So that has been a very pleasant surprise, to say the least. I'm honestly not sure what kind of tree that is, but there's a number of them around in this area, so I'm just going to see what happens with it. It's be a fun little project, give me some experience. And next to it, this here bush is a Weigelia bush. At least that's how my mom always pronounced it, so that's kind of what I'm running with. I'm leaving the bush part up on it this year, but I plan probably next spring, before things happen, I'm going to cut it off down low, because we do have a leader down here to hopefully start getting that to train a little bit, potentially. But so far it seems to be doing healthy from being dug up and put in the pot. And I have another one right here that is doing pretty well for me so far. Now these two, according to the bushes that's in the hedgerow, have white flowers on them. There are some other ones in the hedgerow that have white and pink flowers, and I have currently some cuttings right in here that I took off, the ones with the pink and white flowers. So hopefully those will do okay for me. And of course, as we can see, those are forsythia cuttings, and these two are a couple different azalea cuttings. So I'm fingers crossed those will do okay for me. Now down here, I do have another azalea. Now this one had white flowers for the azalea. Let me think. The cuttings from this, the azalea had red flowers, or pinkish red. And I'm going off of memory. This is white or a light purple or lavender flower on that one. Hopefully when it flowers, time will tell if I'm correct or not. So anyhow, now right in here in this bucket is a project that I got. The last one I got myself to stop. But this is a flowering cherry bush, and it had grown quite large without being pruned in a number of years. And it had laid over against the ground right in here, and it was starting to get some rot on it where it was against the ground and the leaves was around it, so it wasn't able to dry out. It's actually dried out quite nicely since I've had it in the pot, but I changed the angle and have it standing up. and of course I topped it off, and I'm thinking it's going to do okay because it has these lower branches down low. It's kind of interesting because we have this branch down low with a leader off of it right here. It was actually rubbing against the main trunk there, but I got this large stick in to bend that branch out away from it. Sometime, of course this is a long-term project of course, but I will probably cut this farther down and try to get some leaders for some structure towards the bottom. Not sure on that yet. Got plenty of time to think about that. Now, right outside the door here is the other tree stump that I got. And this one is a maple. Now, this one, as well as that other one that I mentioned, that I surprised that it leafed out, both were leaning over an outbuilding. So that's the reason why I cut them down, and thought I'd go ahead and see about digging them up just to see what would happen. And this one is coming out quite lovely with a bunch of branches coming off of it. Of course, the leaves are quite large. Depending on how things go, they may be able to look okay, being this has a large trunk on it, or in time with trimming and things of that nature, might be able to get it trained to where it just has smaller leaves. But nonetheless, that's going to be a fun project, give me a little bit of experience, and from a tree that is growing everywhere in my area. We have these maples absolutely everywhere. Mainly maples, oaks. Of course, we have beech and a walnut every great once in a while, among some other trees that my mind went blank at the moment. But anyhow, here behind the greenhouse, I've cleared this little area right here from, I believe this is English ivy. Got a little open area. Eventually I'll probably get a little bit more of it back, but I wanted a small area to put some of my projects out, and they are underneath these oak trees right here. So these are giving them shade during midday when it's going to be the hottest, and the sun comes from this direction right there. It goes down that direction, so they will get late afternoon, evening sun. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully that won't be too much, but at least the midday sun, it is shady and underneath these trees, and I think that will help me a lot. Of course, now in this open area right here, if I get things that need full sun, I will set things up and have them away from the trees here. But anyhow, this is where I'm at the moment. Now, first off, right here are these two oak saplings I was doing for root over rock. Had some lovely buds on them, but unfortunately they have not come out. So I don't know if they are died on me. I'm afraid so, but I'm still leaving them here just in case they would decide to come around. But those unfortunately look like they're going to be failures. Now this is the eastern red cedar that I had harvested from a parking lot, and I give it a real heavy prune right before springtime, because I really like this branch coming down, and I thought, well, if I can get some new shoots coming out of that to where I can train it, or have a deadwood trunk with this branch, either way I was fine with it. But it has soaked really bad on me, and these are slowly turning brown. This one here is not as of yet looked really bad, but I'm not sure how that will do. I'm hoping it will live for me, but there is a chance that I was a little bit too heavy-handed with it. Fortunately, an eastern red cedar is in a lot of finch rows in this area, so I can always get more of them relatively easily. Now next we have another forsythia, an Easter bush as it's commonly called in my area. This is the second year that it has been in this bonsai training pot. It's come out and did well. I actually trimmed it back pretty heavy. Again, very early spring before the buds and everything came out on it. So it's not very full at this point, but I'm wanting to see if I can't train some decent branch structure on it. So I'll probably give it another trim for the second flush. It ain't quite there yet. It'll be more time, of course. But anyways, that seems to be a pretty hardy variety in this area, are those Easter bushes. So I'm pleased with that at the moment. Now, this is my Japanese maple, and when I first got it, it came from the old Walmart, advertised as a bloodgood Japanese maple. And last year I was having my doubts because the leaves just turned really dark green. They was not purple at all. But I had to transplant it a couple times and get it in freer draining soil, and it was sulking real bad. But now this spring, it has came out very lovely. Of course, the new buds and leaves came out nice, bright and red. And then as they matured, they turned to a nice green. And here, now it's only partial sun, but the sun that has gotten, the leaves have turned this beautiful, deep purple or red color. So I am thrilled to see that. I'm leaving it alone, letting it get happy in the pot. But I am looking at for future, I am considering trying an air layer right here because there's some neat little movement, subtle movement in the trunk right there. But that will be a year or two before I attempt that. I want to make sure that is nice and healthy before I go messing with it too much. Now, here on this little bench I created, of course, these are just firewood logs that haven't been split yet, as the rest of those. But I threw some old boards on top of this, made a little bench. And this is my Chinese elm that I got, and it was crammed into a little pot. And it was literally wrapped around on the inside. They had really twisted around good. So I've decided to see if I couldn't make this into a root over rock and see how that does. And so far, it seems to be doing well. It has some nice growth out on it. They have grown out anywhere from 6 to 8 inches. So it seems to be doing very well. Of course, time will tell how it takes to the root over rock attempt. Now, the first little pot right here is a little trident maple. I had another root over rock attempt, and I put it in some soil that was organic and pine bark, and mine just went blank, but it was 3 things, but it wasn't full draining enough, and this was not doing well at all. So I went ahead and mixed up some of that soil of pumice, calcined clay, and I did break up some pine bark into it, and replanted it in hopes that it will come out and do well. There's a little green on it still, so hopefully it will do well, because when I transplanted it, it was just waterlogged. So fingers crossed I did not kill that. In this next little pot, I went ahead and put my boxwood cutting, and I must say it had some beautiful radial roots on that. And of course it's a little bit small for the pot, but I thought that would give it plenty of room to grow. And we'll wait and see how that works out for me. And this next one is my little apple tree seedling. I had gotten some seeds out of some golden delicious apples and planted them last fall, and this came out from them. And so far it seems to be doing quite well in that little pot. And next, I got 3 little oak seedlings from the yard this spring, and I put them in this pot here. This pot was actually what this Chinese elm right here came in. And I thought I'd try to do a little simple forest. Of course, it's just a little 3-tree forest. And so far they seem to be happy for me. Just I put a rock here on the back side to help prop this one up, but it also gives it a nice little feature, I think. So fingers crossed that will continue to do well for me. And last, we have my cork bark elm, and it has came out quite nicely for me. It isn't quite as vigorous as the Chinese elm, which they're basically the same, generally speaking. A little bit of species variance to my understanding, I guess. The bark is supposed to be a rougher aged bark when it gets older on a cork bark, if I'm understanding correctly. But it seems to be nice and healthy. And right now we got a little bit of evening sun coming down on it, on this bench. As we can see, it's hitting here right now. But anyway, this is my little area where I'm having some of my projects that are, obviously everything's a work in progress still yet. But I am making use of some of those pots I recently got to make things look a little bit more, I don't know, bonsai-like, I guess. But anyhow, this has been a spring tour of all my projects. I do appreciate everyone stopping by and taking the time to watch all the way through this video. Till next time, y'all take care.